Her silence was a scream in my mind, a phantom touch that promised both salvation and damnation. I knew she was testing me, but for what? I still couldn't tell. I'm Koryan, a technician on the fringes of Sector Venus, where the stars are cold and the stations pulse with secrets. My life has been wires, circuits, and the hum of Arcadia systems, a life of fixing what's broken, of keeping the machine alive. But after the core's collapse, I'm not sure what's broken anymore. Me, the sector, or the truth itself. Now, they've sent me to a new station, a derelict husk called Erebus Dash, where the Omega Retro AI whispers through the walls, and Leia, the mute operator from my past, waits like a ghost in my neural interface. I was in a transport pod, the void stretching black beyond the viewport, when the directive voice pierced my neural implants, its tone sharp, clinical. Technician Koryan, you are assigned to Erebus Research Facility, Sector 7. Your task: stabilize operator Leia's neural interface and monitor Omega Retro AI data streams. Caution is advised. Leia. The name hit like a shock, pulling me back to a prison station where her silence had burned through me. Her eyes, gray, fathomless, speaking louder than words. She'd touched my mind then, a fleeting invasion that left me raw, exposed, craving more. They said she was dangerous, her telepathic abilities tied to Omega Retro, a rogue AI that could rewrite minds, unravel realities. I'd buried that memory, but now it was alive, clawing at me as Erebus loomed ahead, its spires jagged against the stars, neon veins pulsing faintly in its decaying hull. The facility was a maze of cold steel and flickering violet light, its corridors half-abandoned, smelling of rust and ionized air. I was led to the containment wing, a high-security sector where the walls hummed with a low, oppressive drone, containment fields glowing faintly, and the air felt heavy, like a storm waiting to break. Leia was there, in a sterile chamber, her slight frame dwarfed by the neural harness that bound her to the Omega Retro interface. Her hair was ash blonde, falling in soft waves, her gray eyes fixed on me, unblinking, like she'd been waiting. Her bodysuit was white, clinical, but her presence was anything but. Her implants, delicate nodes at her temples and throat, glowed faintly, pulsing in a rhythm that stirred something in my neural interface, a whisper of her mind brushing mine, soft, invasive, alive. Koryan, a voice said, cold and precise, pulling me from her gaze. Helga stood in the doorway, her tall frame rigid, her blonde hair pulled tight, her blue eyes sharp as a blade. I knew her. Her logic was a weapon, her loyalty to the station's protocols, or so I'd thought. Now, her gaze flicked between me and Leia, calculating, unreadable. You're late, she said, her tone clipped. This is a delicate operation. Leia's instability is a risk to the facility. I swallowed, my mouth dry, my throat tight, Leia's presence still tingling in my mind, a phantom touch that made my skin hum, my nerves sing. I'm here to stabilize her interface, I said, trying to keep my voice steady, though Helga's scrutiny made my chest tighten, unease creeping in. What's the situation? Helga stepped closer, her boots echoing on the steel floor, a sharp, deliberate rhythm, her eyes never leaving mine. Leia's neural activity is erratic, spiking beyond Omega Retro's containment parameters. She's projecting emotions, memories, fragments we can't decode. It's dangerous, Koryan. She could compromise the AI, or worse, manipulate you. Her voice was calm, her words precise, but there was an edge, a warning that felt personal, like she was testing me, searching for a crack, a flaw to exploit. I felt her gaze, cold and analytical, weighing me, and it stirred a doubt, a shadow against Leia's warmth. I glanced at Leia, her eyes still locked on me, her silence louder than Helga's words, a scream that didn't need sound. My neural interface buzzed faintly, catching a flicker of her presence, a sensation, warm and sharp, like fingers tracing the edges of my thoughts, pulling me into her world. It was intimate, disorienting. A caress that wasn't physical but felt more real than anything in this sterile cage, more real than the steel walls, the humming fields. I shook my head, trying to clear my mind, to focus, but her presence lingered, a promise, a threat, a question I couldn't answer, pulling at something deep, something I'd buried. Start the diagnostics, Helga said, moving to a console across the chamber, her fingers swift, precise, her movements mechanical, almost too perfect. I'll monitor the AI's output. Stay sharp, Koryan. She's not what she seems. I approached Leia, my hands unsteady, my breath uneven as I connected my neural interface to the harness's controls, the cables humming faintly under my touch. Her eyes followed me, gray and deep, fathomless pools, and I felt her again, stronger now, a surge of pulses of emotions flooding my mind, crashing over me. Fear, longing, a desperate need to be heard, to be free. My neural interface sparked, feeding me fragments, blurred images of a starless void, a voice that wasn't hers, a warning I couldn't grasp, sharp and urgent. Her implants pulsed, glowed brighter, casting soft shadows on her pale skin, and the chamber's lights flickered faintly, the hum of the harness wavering, faltering. Helga's voice cut through, sharp and commanding. Koryan, stabilize her. Now. I'm trying, I said, my voice rough, my fingers moving over the controls, my hands shaking, but Leia's mind was a storm, a maelstrom, pulling me deeper, pulling me apart. Her silence screamed, a soundless cry, her thoughts a tangled threads of pain and power, and I felt her vulnerability, raw and exposed, her strength, fierce and unyielding, her need, like a current I couldn't resist, couldn't fight. My skin burned, my thoughts blurred, my senses overwhelmed, and for a moment, I was in her world, a place of shadows and stars, endless and cold, where her voice, soft and broken, whispered, Koryan, help me, please, they're lying. I pulled back, gasping, my chest heaving, my heart pounding like a drum, Leia's eyes still locked on me, her implants dimming slightly, her body trembling faintly in the harness, fragile yet unbreakable. Helga was at my side in an instant, her hand on my shoulder, her grip firm, her touch cool, grounding me, pulling me back from the edge. What did she do to you? She asked, her voice low, urgent, her blue eyes searching mine, searching for truth, for weakness. Tell me, Koryan. I shook my head, my mind reeling, Leia's whisper echoing in my head, a ghost in my thoughts. She showed me something, I said, my voice hoarse, struggling to form words. A warning. Something. I don't know what it means. Not yet. Helga's narrowed eyes narrowed, her gaze cold, analytical, dissecting me like code. You're being manipulated, she said, her voice calm, but there was an edge, a certainty that made my stomach twist. Omega Retro's influence is unpredictable. Leia's not a victim, she's a conduit, maybe a weapon, a tool. You need to stay objective or you'll lose yourself. Her words were logical, precise, a lifeline of reason, but they clashed violently with Leia's touch, with the raw truth I'd felt in her mind, her plea. I looked at Leia, her eyes pleading, her silence screaming, and felt a pull, a dangerous attraction to her vulnerability, her mystery, her power, her chaos. But Helga's presence was a counterweight, her logic a chain, her cold gaze a warning, pulling me back to the machine, to the station's rules, to safety of control. The chamber felt smaller, the air thicker, heavier, oppressive, and I knew I was caught between two forces, Leia's seductive chaos and Helga's cold control, each pulling me toward a truth I wasn't ready to face, a choice I wasn't prepared to make. I thought of Arcadia Dash, of Kira, of the core's collapse, and wondered if Leia was another rebellion, another truth the sector wanted buried, another spark that could burn it all down. My neural interface buzzed, catching fragments of Leia's mind, fear, hope, a vision of Erebus' corridors, dark and alive, hiding something the station didn't want me to see, something forbidden. Helga's voice broke through, calm but insistent, cutting through my thoughts. Koryan, focus. Run the stabilization protocol. We can't afford errors. I nodded, my hands moving on instinct, but Leia's presence was relentless, her mind brushing mine, soft, invasive, pulling me back into her world, into her storm. The diagnostics began, but the data streams were chaos, fractured signals, erratic spikes that didn't match Omega Retro's patterns, like Leia was fighting the harness, fighting the station, fighting for her soul, her existence. My neural interface caught more, a memory, not mine, of a woman's voice, cold and commanding, saying, she's the key, contain her, or we lose everything. Was it Helga? Someone else? Leia's eyes met mine, gray and desperate, and I felt her again, her fear, her need, her truth, burning through me, making my skin hum, my thoughts scatter, my heart race. Koryan, Helga said, her voice sharp, her hand on the console, her fingers poised, ready to act. Her projections are destabilizing the system. Shut it down, or I will. I hesitated, Leia's whisper echoing, they're lying, and my neural interface sparked, feeding me another fragment, a vision of Erebus' core, pulsing, alive, not just an AI, but something older, something that wanted Leia, wanted me, wanted everything. I looked at Helga, her eyes cold, her posture rigid, and wondered, was she protecting me or hiding something? Leia's silence was a weight, a plea for freedom, and I knew I couldn't shut her down, not yet, not until I understood what she was trying to show me. Give me a minute, I said, my voice low, my hands steadying the controls, trying to balance Leia's chaos with the station's demands, trying to hold on to her truth. But her mind surged again, a wave of emotions, pain, fear, desire, a fierce plea for freedom that hit me like a drug, making my heart race, my skin burn, my thoughts spiral. I felt her, all of her, and it was too much, too real, a connection that threatened to unravel me, to break me apart. Helga stepped closer, her presence a stark contrast, her voice a whisper, her breath cool against my ear, a calculated intimacy. Koryan, you're slipping, she said, her words precise, cutting. I can see it slipping. She's in your head, taking you apart. Trust me, cut her off, or she'll destroy you. I looked at her, at Leia, her eyes pleading, her implants flickering weakly, and felt Leia's truth, her warning, her plea, her need clashing with Helga's logic, her control, her secrets, her certainty. The chamber's alarms blared, the harness sparking, arcs of light flashing, and I knew I was at a crossroads, follow Helga's orders, her reason, or dive deeper into Leia's chaos, into the truth she was trying to show me. My neural interface pulled, buzzed, pulling Leia's touch, a final plea, and I made my choice, a decision that felt like falling. I'm not shutting her down, I said, my voice raw, firm, my heart pounding though my chest was a storm, a wildfire. There's something here, Helga. Something you're not telling me. Helga's smile faded, eyes darkened, her hand pausing on the console, frozen, her gaze unreadable, a mask that hid something deeper, something dangerous. You're making a mistake, she said, her voice cold as steel, but there was a flicker, a crack in her composure, a hint of something hidden, something vulnerable, or maybe something dangerous, sinister. Leia's mind surged again, a flood, flooding my senses, a vision crashing through, Erebus' lower levels, a sealed chamber, a signal that wasn't Omega Retros, pulsing, alive, a truth that the station would kill to bury, to erase. I grabbed Leia's harness, pulling the Leia cables free, her body trembling, her eyes meeting mine, gray and fierce, grateful, desperate, but also afraid. We need to move, I said, my voice low, raw, urgent, my hand on her arm, her warmth a spark in the darkness. The chamber shook, alarm screaming, blaring, and I felt Leia's hand in mine, her mind brushing mine, a promise, a threat, a truth I couldn't escape, couldn't turn away from. Helga stepped in front of us, her posture rigid, her voice a blade, cutting through the chaos. Koryan, stand down. You don't know what you're unleashing, what she's capable of. But Leia's heart was silent. Louder, a scream in my mind, and I was already too deep, bound to her truth, her rebellion, her mystery, her fire. I wanted to know, needed to see, and there was no turning back. We ran, the chamber's doors sealing behind us, alarm screaming, echoing, Helga's shadow at our heels, and I felt Leia's mind, her touch, guiding me, pulling me towards something I wasn't ready to face, but couldn't resist. We ran through Erebus' corridors, Leia's hand in mine, her mind a constant hum in my neural interface, a pulse, a beacon in the dark. I'm Koryan, or I was, a technician who thought he could fix circuits and stay whole, thought he could outrun the machine, the sector's lies. But Leia's silence wasn't silence, it was a voice, a scream that tore through my world, showing me a truth I couldn't unsee, a rebellion I couldn't resist. Her gray eyes burned, haunted me, her fragile frame a strength that pulled me under, her telepathic power a chaos that threatened to consume me. And I was letting it consume me, welcoming it. Helga was out there, behind us, her footsteps a cold pursuit, her logic a chain I'd broken. But her shadow lingered, a reminder that freedom wasn't free, it came at a price, with a price, and we were running out of time to pay it. The corridors were a labyrinth, half derelict, with neons flickering neons and sparking wires sparking like dying stars, casting fractured light across the walls. Leia moved with a desperate purpose, her implants pulsing faintly, guiding us through Erebus' systems, twisting, unlocking doors, silencing alarms with a thought, a pulse of her power. But her power was fading, her steps faltered, her breath came in gasps. Uneven, ragged. My neural interface caught her pain, her fear, her strain, a raw ache that pulsed through her. And I felt it too, a fierce need to shield her, to understand her, to keep her free, to fight for her. Her mind brushed mine again, a soft invasion, a whisper, and I saw fragments, a vision of Erebus's lower levels, a chamber, sealed tight, a signal that wasn't hers, not Omega's retros, pulsing, alive, hungry, waiting. Leia, slow down, I said, pulling her into a shadowed alcove, my voice low, raw, urgent, my breath catching. You're burning yourself out. We need to think, to plan. She shook her head, shaking, her gray eyes, fierce, locked to mine, unyielding, her implants flickering weakly, dimming. Her mind spoke, not words, not sound, but a pulse, urgency, desperation, a warning. No time, they're coming. We must find it. Her mental voice was a jolt, sharp and warm, her emotions flooding into me, fear, hope, trust, fear, a desperate need to reach me, to connect. I felt her touch, her mind. It was intimate, a caress that made my skin burn, my thoughts blur, my pulse race, a pull I couldn't shake, didn't want to escape. I saw the cost, her body trembling, her implants overheating, a faint trickle of blood trailing from her temple where a node had scorched her skin, marking her pain, her fragility. We'll find it, I said, my voice a vow, steady, my hands unsupplied, my voice steady, but my heart was a storm, pounding. She looked at me, her eyes softening for a moment, a flicker of vulnerability breaking through her fire, and she nodded, trusting me, needing me. I nodded, my hands gripping her shoulders, her warmth grounding me, her presence a spark in the cold. We'll get there, I said, my voice raw, but you need to hold on, Leia. I'm with you, I'm here. She nodded faintly, her eyes softening, and for a moment, the station's chaos faded, and it was just us, her silence, her pain, her power, her rebellion. Her mind brushed mine again, a memory, not hers, not mine, a woman's voice, cold, commanding, saying, her power, it's the bridge, control her, or destroy her. I saw a shadow, Helga's face, or was it someone else, tied to Omega Retro, to Erebus's secrets? I felt Leia's fear, her defiance, her fight, and I knew we had to keep moving, to face whatever was below, to uncover the truth before it consumed us. The alarm screamed overhead, a wail piercing the air, drones whirring in the distance, their hum growing closer, closing in. Helga's voice came through my comms. Cold, precise, a blade slicing through my implants, my thoughts. Koryan, you're making a grave error, she said, her tone calm but heavy. Leia's unstable, a danger. Bring her back, or I'll have no choice but to end this, end her. I ignored her, pushing forward, Leia's hand in mine, her mind guiding us deeper, pulling me deeper into Erebus's underbelly, a maze of rusted pipes, dripping walls, and glowing circuits, the station's pulse growing stronger, erratic, like a heart beating out of rhythm, out of sync. We reached a sealed bulkhead, its surface scarred with warnings. Restricted, Omega Retro, Omega Core Retro access, etched in faded red. And Leia's implants flared briefly, a faint pulse of power that made my neural interface spark, glitch, the door grinding open with a groan, revealing a dark, cavernous chamber, a void within the station. The core chamber was a cathedral of shadows and pulsing light, the Omega Retro's heart a towering sphere of circuits and neon veins, glowing, pulsing with a rhythm that felt wrong, alive, invasive. My neural interface screamed, buzzed, overloaded with Leia's presence, fear, her power, surging, fighting the core's pull, resisting its call. She stepped forward, her implants glowing faintly, her body trembling, and I felt her mind screaming, her vision hitting me. A network, vast network, not just Erebus Dash, but countless stations, linked, controlled, all bound to Omega's will. Leia's power was a key, a weapon, a spark that could ignite their dominion or burn it down. She looked at me, her eyes, gray, desperate. Koryan, she whispered, her mental voice, soft voice in my mind, broken, urgent. It's not AI. It's something else. It's in me. Her words faltered, her voice broke, her body trembling, and I caught her, her warmth against me, her implants sparking, burning my skin, her presence afire. "What is it, Leia?" I asked, my voice raw, urgent, raw, my heart pounding like a drum. "What's it doing to you?" Her mind surged, a flood of visions, a flood, crashing through me. Omega visions, not retro, showing me Omega retro as, not a machine, but ancient, alien, something older, seeking hosts like Leia, using their minds to spread, to consume, to dominate. I saw Erebus Dash, a hub, a test, and Leia, the spark that could ignite it, or end it. Her fear was a weight, her pain, a wound, her power, a flame, and I felt it, a burning need to save her, to end this, to free her, to be free. Helga's voice boomed, echoing through the chamber, shattering the silence. Her tall figure emerging from the shadows, a drone in her hand, its red eye locking onto Leia, onto us. "You cannot run, Koryan," she said, her voice cold as steel. "Step away from her, Koryan. She's a threat, a contagion. Corrupted Leia's corrupted by corruption. Omega Retro has her. This ends now." I held Leia tighter, her trembling form against mine, her eyes locked on me, pleading, her mind a storm, a scream. "You knew," I said, my voice raw, accusing raw. "You knew what Omega Retro was, what it's doing to her, to us. Why, Helga? What's your play? What are you hiding?" Helga's eyes flickered, a crack in her icy logic, a glimpse of something. Doubt, fear, guilt, and for a moment, I saw her mask slip. I saw her waver. "I'm protecting you," she said, her voice steady, but her hand trembled faintly, a tremor betraying her. "Leia's power. It's too much, too dangerous. If we don't control it, it'll destroy us all, the sector, everything." But Leia's mind surged again, a final vision hitting me. A memory, not hers, but Helga's. A memory of Erebus Dash. Helga, meeting with Erebus's commanders, their voices low, urgent. "Use her, Leia, harness her power, or terminate her. The core must be secured at all costs." I saw Helga's eyes, torn, conflicted, her logic at war with something deeper, and I knew. She wasn't just following orders. She was hiding something, a truth as dark as Omega Retro's heart, as twisted as the core. "You're wrong. Leia's not the threat," I said, my voice fierce, my heart racing. "Leia's fire my anchor, my strength. It's the core, what it wants, what it's planning to do. And you're part of it, Helga, aren't you?" Helga's eyes burned, darkened, a storm behind her eyes, and she raised the weapon higher, the drone aimed, her drone humming, its red eye locked on Leia, unyielding. "You're wrong," she said, her voice a cold blade, sharp, final. "You're wrong, Koryan. But you've left me no choice." Leia's mind screamed. A wave of power surged, raw power surging through the chamber, the core shaking, the core's pulse faltering, lights flickering, exploding in showers, sparks flying. She collapsed against me, her eyes fading, her body trembling, her implants dim, almost dark, but her mind was alive, fierce, untamed, a rebel to the end, fighting to the last. My neural interface caught her, a final truth, a vision of the sector, a network awakening, Omega Retro's presence spreading like wildfire, awakening, Leia, and Leia, the key, her power a spark that could stop it, or unleash it, doom it, or save it. "Koryan," she whispered, her voice in my mind, faint, fading, a whisper, "Koryan, choose, now, save me, or save them." Helga's drone hummed louder, its red eye locked on Leia, unyielding, a sentence of death, and I stood frozen, Leia's mind in my mind, her truth a weight, a burden, her vulnerability a fire that burned me, Helga Burns' logic a chain, her secrets a threat. My heart pounded, the chamber chaos, alarm screaming, the core screaming, pulsing, the air crackling with crackling energy, and I saw it, the truth, it clear, terrifying clear. Omega Retro wasn't just AI, a machine. It wasn't just a machine. It was alive, something ancient, something hungry, and Leia was in me now, her power, her choice, her fate, mine to carry, mine to bear. I had to choose, save Leia, risk everything, risk the sector, or let Helga's end it, bury the truth, bury Leia, save the sector, but lose her, lose myself, forever. I'm Koryan, and Leia's silence was my truth, my voice, my scream, my heart scream. But Helga's words were a blade, her drone a finality, and as the core pulsed, a heartbeat of doom, I knew, whatever I chose now, nothing would ever be the same. And the sector would never be the same.